All right, today on Need Race Radio, we welcome a comedic hero of mine. It's actually kind of incredible. I'm talking to him. Um, one of the members of Whitest Kids Know, Zach Cregger. How are you, sir? How are you?
I'm great. That's a very kind thing for you to say right at the top. But thank you so much. I appreciate that. I'm glad to
Absolutely.
be
Yeah.
here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can't welcome you enough. So just a little warm up right here. As I mentioned, you're one of the members of the Whitest Kids Know. You got to take me through some of your favorite sketches.
It's funny. I get asked often like, "What's your
Right,
favorite sketch?"
right.
And I don't have one.
Hmm.
That's kind of like a parent saying, "I don't have a favorite kid."
Yeah,
Though
it kind of
we
is.
we have some we favorite though.
And a lot more sketches jump to mind when I think of sketches that I hate of ours.
Really?
Go on through that.
And I'd rather, I'm so embarrassed of them. I'd just as soon not talk about them. But the sketches that I like, I guess some of the like go-tos that I think connected with a lot of people are some of my favorites. Like I like The Grapist very much.
Yeah.
I think some of my favorites though, I think Pussy Salad is a favorite of mine. I don't know if people love that one as much as I do. Another one is there's one where I play a homeless Joe. I'm like a homeless guy in a parking lot who's like trying to mug a yuppie and get him to suck my dick in the parking lot, and then the tables quickly get turned. I don't know why that one is like so precious to me, but it is. I don't know. It depends on the day, I suppose.
Hmm. So, what's the furthest you guys have gone for a skit, and why is it Trevor sticking his thumb up his ass?
Wait, what's the question here? What's the furthest we've gone?
What's the furthest you've been willing to go for a skit, and why is it Trevor sticking his thumb up his ass?
Well, you're wrong about that because I'm assuming you're referring to the autoerotic asphyxiation sketch, right?
Precisely, sir. You know
Okay,
your
well,
skits.
my friend, that's not Trevor with his thumb up his ass. That's our friend Aubrey from Canada, who's in New York. I don't remember if it was because Trevor wouldn't do it or if it was just out of necessity because the way we filmed it, we needed a body double and that had to be Aubrey because
Right.
Aubrey's tall like Trevor and had long hair. So it just kind of like worked. But yeah, that's not Trevor sticking his thumb up his ass. And who's to say how deep that thumb went? No one was really paying much attention.
The age-old question.
You know, exacly.
I don't think anyone's measuring.
Nobody knows.
Yeah, it's like a 1 or 2 knuckler. But was there any sketches that were too far? I mean, there's a sketch about a gallon of PCP and you losing your wife to for collateral to a drug dealer, and there's
Sure.
a commercial rapist. Are there any sketches that you guys scrapped because you're like, all right, this is a step too far?
100%. It's funny that you bring up Gallon of PCP though as like an example of a sketch maybe going near the line, because to me that sketch is tame. Like there's nothing in Gallon of PCP that in my mind is like remotely edgy. Like, yes, a drug dealer cut a woman's head off. Who gives a shit? It probably happens every day. Welcome to the world. Like, we've had sketches that we thought were edgy, but we thought we could get away with putting them on the air that the network nixed.
Okay.
And I think we'll throw those up on the YouTube because why wouldn't we?
Right.
And then we've had sketches that I think we wrote, and then as we were kind of like nearing the reality of shooting them, you read things a few more times, and you have to have conversations about the sketch with like wardrobe people and with the team, with the team, and sometimes the more you talk about it, the more you realize this isn't a good idea, and whether it's just not funny or whether it's just like edgy for edgy's sake. Or if it's just actually over the line and uncool. And like we have definitely done some sketches that I think in retrospect are over the line. And there's sketches that made it to air that I regret, that I think like were probably not in our good judgment. Trying to be like a little careful with my words here, but like I think that we made some jokes that were very much in vogue at the time in the early aughts of like somebody says something really edgy and offensive.
Right.
And the joke is that like the shock value is one thing, but really it's about like, can you believe how racist this character is? But in retrospect, I think it's actually a little bit of a cop out because you're still mining the cheap laugh that comes with saying that's shocking racist, misogynist, whatever it is thing. So you kind of are like playing this coward's game of like, I'm not racist, but I'm saying a fucked up thing. And I actually regret that. So like there's, the sketches that come to mind are like the TV show pitching guy and stuff like that, where he just pitches like racist TV shows. And at the time I would have defended that sketch being like, dude, he's racist. If you don't get that, like, he's racist, then like, what's wrong with you? But it's like, sure, but you're still getting a laugh off of a racist joke. So I feel like to answer the question, this is a very long-winded question that may not have even been your intended territory, but like sketches that have gone too far, sketches that there's some of those. And it's weird, especially now because we're like re-uploading the library, and it's like, what do we do with sketches like that? Do we strike them from the record, or do we do a commentary? I think what we're going to do is do a commentary track for them where we like address these issues, but then actually don't upload the sketch, because I don't want to like be monetizing those sorts of things. I can't, like, that would also be another level of hypocrisy if I'm like, it's so fucked up what we did, and I'm putting an ad in front of it and I'm making money. Like, that's not. That's not cool.
I hate that we did that, but I'm gonna make a little bit of money.
But money
ain't
money
I a
is green.
stinker? Yeah.
When cancel culture came out, was that something that you guys were like, hey, like there's some stuff in the past that we did that back then were all right, and you guys had to address immediately, or was that something you guys just said, hey, we did it, let it ride?
I mean, one of the benefits of being virtually unknown in the culture is that like no one's really paying attention to us. But there are definitely sketches like the one I just mentioned that I think are like, it's not that I'm afraid of getting canceled. It's more of just like, I think that it's a really great, I think it's a really great thing what's happened in the last 3 years with our culture. And I'm sure there's some examples you could pick where like maybe it's gone. I honestly can't think of one where it's gone too far. I think generally like people need to be held accountable. And if you spew toxic shit into the public forum, like you get what's coming to you, Now that said, like what should happen to people like us who have like maybe, put some toxic shit out there of our own? Who knows? Maybe we do need to be held accountable. I also would counter though that we put out a lot of pretty woke sketches at the time, like gay football. Like we're like pretty. And I don't know where you guys stand politically, and I'm cool with wherever you stand politically. But for us, like, we've always been like pretty passionate about like gay rights, racial equality, things like that. And I think that by and large, that is the narrative, the through line of our show and of our comedy. And so, I mean, I'm not ashamed of the Whitest Kids at all. I mean, at all. I feel I really can defend it by and large. Mm-hmm. But I mean, and the offenders that we have, I feel like are like just as bad as anything on the Sarah Silverman show. That really was the flavor at the time. You say something really edgy, people go, whoa, and then hopefully they think about it for a beat, and then they realize, they use common sense. Anyway, I think I should stop ranting about this. But yeah, anyway. You didn't even ask. I just kind of like took this conversation down.
That's totally fine, because I think it's interesting where you said you think you're generally unknown because, and from my perspective, you Chappelle Show, Carlos Mencia, like that whole era shaped
guys like us growing up, like
shaped us, shaped our humor, shaped like what we think is funny.
That's amazing to me, and I like to hear that. Although it's funny because like Chappelle Show, I think is genius. Carlos Mencia to me is like, what the fuck? No, don't lump me in with Carlos Mencia. Is Carlos Mencia one of your heroes?
Absolutely not.
Okay,
but it was just like it was in that crop of that era.
I get it. I totally get it. I get it. At that time, he had a huge totally.
Yeah.
Well, that's great, dude. That makes me so
absolutely do not like Carlos Mencia.
Cool. But what if you guys were like, it's you, it's that Jeff Dunham puppet dude, and Carlos Mencia? I'd be like, that's cool. That's cool. Fuck.
You guys got a lot of your stuff from Mad TV, right? Yeah.
Oh man. It's funny. Trevor's writing partner is one of the Mad TV producers on his Disney show that he's working on now.
That's got to be one of the more jarring things to hear in the same sentence. Trevor and Disney.
Oh, believe me, I think about that all the time and just I don't know where to begin. I don't know what to do.
So, speaking of Trevor, between you and Trevor, how often did you have to fight over who was better looking?
Who was better what?
Looking. Who was better looking?
Yeah, that has never come up.
Never happened? Here, as a follow-up, who do you think's the prettiest woman out of the group? Because
I feel like there's no debate about this. It's Darren, right? I mean, if the internet is to be believed, it is that Darren is the prettiest woman. And I think we all knew that because he plays the woman the most, like if we're writing a sketch and there's a woman, I think we're just naturally assuming it's going to be Darren,
Yeah. Because I actually just literally before we got on here, I was watching some of your skits, and I watched the one where he's dressed up as a nurse.
Was that
the pimp one?
Pun disaster?
Yeah, the pimp pun disaster. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, is that a woman?
I know.
I was like, wait, no, that's Darren. That's Darren.
Yeah. You guys, I think it's been stricken from YouTube, but we did a sketch that did air called Weird the Stripper. Did you ever see that one?
I'm not sure. Sure.
It exists somewhere on the internet, but it's I think it's one of Trevor's favorites, but it's Darren is a stripper, and we really invested money into getting him convincing prosthetic breasts. He's stripping, and it's just about this stripper who's stripping, obviously at a club, but she has a different for literally any dollar amount that you offer her, she'll have a different act she'll do for that dollar amount. So if you say $1.57, she'll vote for you. She'll go to the ballot and vote, or if you give her $33, she'll eat a peanut. It's funnier than I'm making it now. But anyway, I think it's Darren's crown jewel of his female characters. So do yourself a favor, see if you can find Weird the Stripper.
Weird the Stripper.
That's what it's called.
Sure,
it's hard to find. It's hard.
Did Darren wear that as a badge of honor? Hey, look, there's a girl in the scene. I'm the hot one. We all know where this is going.
That's a good question.
I would be so damn cocky if that was me. I'd be like, I am sexy as fuck. You guys are writing a girl in here. So anytime
any of the others of us played a girl, he would just get bent out of shape. He's I don't know why Timmy has to be the girl. I'm so much hotter than Timmy.
Look at those cankles.
Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? He would just, I'll be in the car. He just sits in the car. He won't get out. No, I don't think Darren gives a shit. I think he's fine. Darren just is so chill. He really is a very mellow, kind, nice, gentle person. So I think it's just he's yeah, I'll do it, sure. So there's no ego.
To sort of loop a little bit here, coming into sketch comedy, you guys obviously met through the Manhattan College of Visual Arts. Yeah.
School of Visual Arts.
Yeah. And coming into sketch comedy, who were some of your inspirations? Because you've been around long enough to where at this point you can probably see shows that you feel like I see a little bit of us in them at this point, because I feel like the cycle's been around for a while.
I mean, the sketch shit that I grew up loving was Monty Python, of course, the movies. I didn't really watch Flying Circus as a kid.
Me neither.
It wasn't available.
I love the movies.
Yeah, but Holy Grail and Life of Brian, Meaning of Life, those
and looking
Holy
back,
Grail.
I can see that now. Looking back, I can see that
for sure. And I know Trevor's a huge Monty Python fan, and Trevor and I both have a deep love of Fawlty Towers. Mm-hmm. And if you haven't seen Fawlty, it's John Cleese's show after Monty Python. It's amazing. So I think that's definitely part of it. For me, honestly, the show that shaped my sense of humor more than any other show is The Simpsons. Seasons 2 through 10. And I think it's still those seasons. I think I'm not going to diss modern Simpsons, but I don't watch it anymore. But those seasons, those 8 seasons, 2 through 10, are just so incredibly wickedly funny. I mean, it holds up perfectly to this day. If you haven't seen them, do it. You will laugh your fucking ass off. And I know a lot of comedians of my peers that had the exact same attitude. I know Eric Andre. If you hang out with that guy, he will just quote The Simpsons all day long. It shaped a fucking generation of comedy people. So I think that's for me the biggest one. And then the other, we all really liked Kids in the Hall. I think that was a big one. And Mr. Show, I was a big Mr. Show fan. So those are the touchstones, I think. Yeah.
Right. So could you sort of take me through like a creative process of one of your sketches? So, someone comes in the room and they're like, "Oh, I have an idea." Like how does that
That never happened, or
really?
very rarely happened.
Okay.
I'd say maybe
Is it
5%.
more deliberate like than that?
What's that? So
Is it
I'll walk you through it. So I
okay.
would say only 5% of our sketches were ever written by like someone like going through their day-to-day life, like having an interesting interaction, being like, that could be a sketch. Like that's not how we wrote at all. We would get together, and this was, we lived in New York and we lived the lives of incredibly poor people. Like very, very poor, all of us. So we'd go to somebody's dump apartment and we'd all like cram in there, and we would sit silently for like 10 minutes. Everyone would have a pen and paper. And so we'd just be quiet for 10 minutes and everyone would just have to write down 5 ideas. They could be terrible. They could be, and they would be, like, it doesn't matter. Bad ideas are just as good as good ideas. So I would look around the room and I'd be like, okay, I have a box. The box comes in the mail and it's a dog and it's dead. And everyone's like, why did you order a dead dog? It's like, oh, I ordered a live dog. There, that's my idea. Okay, moving on. So then, after 10 minutes of quiet, we would go around and one by one, everyone would read their little 5 ideas. And the goal of that would be not to convince everyone you have a good idea, but that hopefully this idea would spark something in everyone. Hopefully somebody else would see a better idea in your shitty idea. And if everyone kind of started riffing and took it to some new place, then we would write it up on a board. And then we would do that 10-minute quiet pitch round like 3 times. And then we would look at what was on the board. And there's usually, by the time you do that 3 times, you'd have maybe 4 ideas on the board, maybe 5. And then you would debate which one you wanted to write. And then we'd pick one, and then we would put the computer up on a TV screen, and one person would type, and everyone would pitch lines. We would write it together. That was how I'd say 80% of the sketches were written. And then there were a few that would be like, say, Sam and Trevor had an idea that other people weren't really caring about, but they really believed in it, then they might go write it by themselves over there, and then the rest of us would go do something else over there. So that was pretty much the creative process. And we never like rewrote a sketch. Once the sketch was written, it was like, in our minds, it was like, it's done, don't touch it. Which is like maybe not a good thing. I think some of the sketches could have been a lot better if we'd rewritten them. We never had anyone else write for us, except Pete Holmes wrote one sketch, and a girl that I don't know. What was that?
I said, wow, Pete Holmes.
Yeah, he wrote the asshole restaurant sketch where Timmy's a waiter and he's like being mean. I don't know if you remember that one, but Pete wrote that one. And there was a woman that wrote the Jumbotron sketch, but we tweaked it. So like we never wanted to have another writer. And in season 2, they like made us have a writer. So we got John Gemberling and Curtis Gwynn. John Gemberling is on Broad City. We were like, we're going to pay you guys to be our staff writers, but we don't want any submissions. Just take this like paltry piece of money and like don't submit. And they're like, okay. And then I think on season 3, they wanted us to have writers again. And so we just called Pete, and this girl had a great writing packet. I'm so embarrassed I don't know her name, but I never met her. They submitted like 4 sketches, and we loved one of hers and one of Pete's, and that was that.
So when you guys were writing down, taking turns, do you think that helped avoid writer's block, so you're not just like having to think all week long about, oh, what am I going to bring to the table this week?
Yeah, I do. Yeah. And it was good because like if there wasn't that dread, like now writing is part of that's my job really. And I am plagued 24 hours by this overwhelming sense of guilt that I should be writing, like if I'm playing video games, I should be writing. If I'm watching, anything. But it was kind of nice with them because it's like we had so committed to this is our process, this is how we write these sketches, we do it together, that like I didn't have to feel guilty when I was away from them because like no one's writing. I can't write now. It's and we were really diligent. Like one thing about us is like we worked our asses off. Like when we were in college, we met every Friday, Saturday, Sunday, all day. And like sometimes in the evenings. And then when we graduated and we were like, had day jobs, we would do a new show, a live show every Sunday night at this club called Pianos Downtown for free. So we had to have a half hour on Sundays. So we had to meet in weeknights. We had to write all day Saturday and rehearse all day Sunday and like put it up on its legs Sunday night and then start over Monday morning. So like we did that for years. We did that for like, I don't know how many years, 3 or 4 years of a free new show every weekend. So like, I think that was honestly the best thing we ever did was just our work ethic more than, it's not like we're so talented. We just like grinded, dude.
Yeah.
And then when we got our TV show, we already had because we've been doing that for however many years, we had a library of over 100 sketches that we'd already tested in front of an audience and like knew what worked and what didn't work. So writing the first season's our best season hands down because we wrote it over the course of like 5 years and we just picked the best of. So it's the best of like our first thing. And then we're just like, this is a good one. This is a good one. This is a good one. Shoot them. And then season 2, we'd already burned all our best stuff. Now we were like, do we go and like pick through the B team of the library? Or we decided we didn't want to do that. We had to just start writing. But it was cool though, because every sketch in season 1 is written for the stage. Every sketch in season 2 is written for the screen. And that's why 2, 3, 4, and 5, even though they're on IFC, they feel different to me because they were written for television. Yeah.
So, and you said that you guys were super poor and you were putting on these free shows. When you started seeing some success, were you like, hey, maybe we charge them $1? And by the end of the night,
it's funny. No, we never charged money for a live show, except when we went on tour. And the only reason we did it then was because we had to pay for tour expenses.
Right.
And when we went back and like did live shows in New York, they were still free. It's just part of our like, I come from like punk rock, you know, like I was very much in the punk rock scene in DC and stuff. And I was just like, the Fugazi Minor Threat attitude of like, you don't charge for this stuff. This is a community thing. Like, I thought that was cool.
Yeah.
Now I do think back, like, man, really what it kills me the most, dude, is that like our YouTube channel, like the main one that's up that, you know, we didn't put that shit up. Some fan did. And they got
making a bunch of money,
hundreds of millions of views, literally. A lot of them have been pulled down, so they don't have those views anymore. But like, there would be videos of ours that racked up 60 million views. And then I think IFC would strike them down. We didn't make a penny off that stuff. Like, we didn't have a YouTube channel until this year, our official WK UK one. That's our first time.
I think someone in the Twitch chat said that 1 million views pays about $2,000.
Okay, so that actually makes me feel better because in my mind, I'm thinking they got 60 million views. Okay, so that works out to like $100,000 maybe. Am I right about that? Or is it 30?
100, I don't know. I'm bad at math.
We're not math guys.
No, it's 120 grand. It's 120.
Yeah.
All right. I'm sitting here thinking maybe they had more than that. Okay. Yeah, that's, you know,
yeah, but
whatever. It sucks. I could get upset about it, but like,
no, it's so true because I was talking to my fiance about that. Like, I pulled up like a Sean Kingston song and it was like Microsoft clip art, and I was like, this bastard has made like, you know, $50,000 off Sean Kingston's song without him even knowing, probably.
Right.
So it's funny to hear straight from you that does go through your head.
The really maddening thing, though, is like we've reached out because we assumed it was like fans that like started these channels, and that's great. And I'm glad that people care enough about what we do that they would like take initiative and put it out there. So I really don't want to be like disparaging to these people. But what drives me kind of nuts is that we've reached out multiple times in the last few years and been like, hey, like we'd really like to maybe discuss how we could like, you know, share or
a buyout or something.
Completely stonewalled. And that is frustrating. And I feel like maybe if we don't get a response soon, we're going to have to pull them down. Because that's really our only option. If they don't want to talk to us, like all we can do then is just like yank it. So
right. So when we were speaking about the creative process, and you told about sitting there for 10 minutes, one sketch comes to my mind.
Sure. Which one?
Where Timmy pulls poop out of his pants.
Yeah.
Because I can see me personally sitting there and it's like 9 minutes and 45 seconds. And the guys are like, all right, guys, well, 10 seconds left. And the first thing, pull shit out of my pants.
Yeah.
Because as the way that office meeting looks, it looks like you're all sitting in a room, writing things down, and Timmy panics and goes, I'm going to pull poop out of my pants.
Right.
And then just madness ensues of him holding poop, and everyone's like, "Oh!"
It's so funny.
On his face.
I don't remember writing that sketch. I don't remember how it came about. But what I do remember about that sketch is that we shot that before we had a TV show, right? So that was that was one of the sketches we just shot on our own guerrilla style. In fact, you can see like the C-stands like just in the frame, like so. But we shot it New Year's Day. So in the office that Trevor and Sam and I worked in, we used to work at this TV network called Imagination TV. It was an Asian American television network that existed for like 3 months and then like went bankrupt. It existed for 2 years. But we were like the 3 white guys that worked at this like all Asian television network. And we knew that we could get into the office on New Year's Day, that no one would be there. And so we got our buddy Mike, who's like now a really successful DP, to like come shoot that sketch. And we did everything we needed to do. But then we all got so wasted New Year's Eve that I don't think we'd slept. So we're shooting that sketch with like the world's worst hangovers. And like Timmy's like, like it was a fucking nightmare. It was like one of the most unpleasant sketch experiences. But I think it came out well. So yeah, cool.
It makes me laugh just because of how absurd it is and how like, I don't want to say thrown together, but like how it just like, it's the simplest thing where Timmy just pulls poop out of his pants. And
that's the whole premise of the sketch. A guy shits in his hand. That's the whole thing. It's like, and we can riff on that for 5 minutes, I guess. All right, cool. But that was one of those ones, we did that one live first. And I remember like the first time we did that live, it got such a great reaction that we were like, the next week, we're like, we did this sketch last week, but we loved doing it so much, we're going to do it again this week. And then it killed again. And then we were like, the third week, we're like, we're going to just do the sketch until it stops being funny. I think we did it like 4 weeks in a row. And then we're like, all right, let it go.
Our first like 3 episodes were based off of poop. So poop plays. Poop
wait, your first 3 episodes of your podcast?
Yeah, it was like
there's sketch.
No, the podcast.
It's just stories of me pooping my pants.
Yeah.
Hey, those are great.
And me almost pooping my pants.
Relatable.
Those are great stories.
Poop plays.
So speaking of Timmy, how much shit do you give Timmy for having a mullet at 40 years old?
A mullet? Does he have a mullet? I don't think he has a mullet. I think he just has like long hair.
All right, somebody gave me bad info because I heard that he has a mullet.
I think you've got bad info. He wore pigtails. I don't think you could wear pigtails if you just have a mullet.
No, that's true. It's a good.
Yeah. Have you seen the D&D stuff that we do?
I have not actually.
Oh, you should watch it. I'm really happy with it. I think it's good. But yeah, Timmy wears full like crazy braided Princess Leia pigtail kind of deals.
Yeah, I'll have to go back and execute my sources. So, what can you tell us about the movie you're trying to finance?
Well, I can tell you that it's going to be animated.
Okay.
It's called Mars. It has to do with interplanetary travel. Mm-hmm. It's going to be broken into 10 chunks, kind of like we did Civil War on Drugs. Civil War on Drugs was like supposed to be 10 episodes that are all sort of self-sustained or self-contained, but build a movie as a whole. So it's like that. And like Civil War, it's one story. So it's not a sketch movie in the way that like Brain Candy is. I don't know if you saw Brain Candy, the Kids in the Hall movie. Mm-hmm. Brain Candy's like it's got kind of a central story, but it's also kind of takes a lot of like diversions into other weird territories. This is more one story, but I think it's, I'm really, really happy with it. And I know Trevor is too. Like Trevor and Sam have been working, and I have been working on it a lot. We're the ones that live in LA, so we get together and write and work on stuff together. And I think it's going to be awesome. So I mean, we need to hit 375. That's how much money we need to make this movie. It's not that much. It seems like a lot, but it's not too much. And if we can get 375K, we can make this thing top to bottom. And so I hope that, coming back and doing like more active YouTube stuff and Twitch stuff, I hope that that's a path towards getting this done. It remains to be seen. At the rate we're going now, I don't think it is, but hopefully it'll catch and more people will find us and we'll get it going. So we'll see. Yeah, I'm optimistic.
I think you should be, because I think there's a whole generation of guys my age that have been yearning for more content from you guys. I'm actually going to ask you something. I'm hoping no one has ever asked you.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
What was it like playing an alcoholic Hal Jordan?
An alcoholic Hal Jordan?
Yeah, for the death of Superman and Superman
Oh,
Returns.
wow. God, that was just one day.
Really?
And that was a long time ago. And that was a weird day because, like, I had met Max Landis randomly out at a bar. He had approached me. It was like, hey, I know you. I'm a big Whitest Kids fan. And he was not like famous at that time. He was he was just like, I wrote this movie Chronicle. It's going to come out next year. You got to watch it. And I was like, oh, okay, dude. Okay. And then like 2 months later, I got, he reached out through my agent and wanted to have lunch with me. So I was like, what? Who? So I went and I just had lunch with him. And he was like, I'm making, and do you know much about Max? I mean, you saw The Thing. He's the narrator. Do you know?
Right.
Do you know who I'm talking about, though? Do you know?
I believe so. Yeah.
He's John Landis's son. He's written like huge movies in the last 5 years, and then he got Me Too'd and canceled.
Yeah, that'll happen.
Yeah, that'll happen. And it was a weird day because I'm running around town with him and his crew, and I'm doing this Green Lantern. I don't know anything about Hal Jordan. Like my reaction when he said Hal Jordan, I was like, what is this guy talking about? Is Green Lantern alcoholic, by the way? Is that a thing? Was I playing him as an alcoholic? I don't even remember.
He was an alcoholic in your portrayal.
Oh, really? Oh,
Yeah.
dude, I haven't watched that video.
Yeah, no. Max Landis, he wrote Chronicle, Bright, Me, Him, Her, Channel Zero.
And I think American Ultra and Frankenstein and some others. So he definitely he's a hot ticket.
Really, really quick at Googling.
Sure. Yeah, how was it? Anyway, I don't know. There's not really a story here other than it was kind of a shit show. That day was a little insane, and I don't.
If you were to go back and have your choice of Justice League heroes, would Hal Jordan be your first pick?
You know what? I'll be honest with you. I find the whole Justice League to be kind of boring. Like I feel like Batman's in the Justice League, right?
Correct.
Yeah, I hate it. I hate it. I think I love Batman. I actually wrote a Batman script 2 years ago that I had so much fun writing. But I think that to me, Batman belongs in his own universe. I don't want him to be hanging out with magical people. Batman's whole fucking Gotham City coolness is that there's no magic. He's just a rich guy with technology. That's his superpower. And I get that Poison Ivy and Mr. Freeze, and there is, some of his villains have magic. I don't like those villains. I like it when he's fighting like the Joker and Riddler and Black Mask.
I feel like it's more
toxic.
What? I agree with you because I feel like Batman's universe is more of a psychological crime thriller superhero. Yeah. Whereas Justice League and other DC heroes are that sort of classic fantasy, fantasy superheroes.
Yeah, this is why I don't care about Marvel at all. Yeah. I don't watch those whatever the Avengers movies because
never saw one of them.
I don't give a shit about magic, dude. I'm not interested. Superman, I don't care about. Yeah.
So I'll wrap this all up with I know before we went on air, I mentioned to you that I live near DC. You are from Arlington, Virginia, which is just a suburb of DC. Give me some of your favorite eating spots in DC.
Oh, I get asked this question, dude,
really? All the time?
Yeah, not all the time, but people, and not in a public forum, but people I know that live in, whatever. Where do I go in DC? Where should I go eat? Dude, I left DC in 1998. When I go back to DC, it's to stay at my mom's house in Arlington. The only places I remember from my childhood that still exist, there's a club called the Black Cat that I would go to all the time. It's kind of a punk rock club. 930 Club is a cool music venue, but the restaurants that I grew up liking, I don't think they exist anymore.
They've all turned out.
They're gone. So there's a place called Food for Thought on Connecticut Avenue that I would have recommended to you in 2002, but I doubt it exists. I know in DuPont Circle, Zorba's is good. Zorba's Cafe. Hit that.
Okay.
It's Greek. I like it. But other than that, you got me, dude. You can tell me.
All right. Well, Zach, I can't thank you enough. Kyle, I'm all tapped out, man. Do you have anything else
Yeah,
for him?
I'm all good on questions. Where can they find you online on Twitch or anything like that? Plug
Yeah.
some of your stuff.
Please check us out. Official WKUK is our YouTube. You could search Whitest Kids U'Know and watch some of our pirated stuff. It's all over YouTube. And also on Twitch, official WKUK. And we're going to be doing a Twitch show every Friday night and Saturday night. So Friday night is me and Trevor doing Newsboys, where we just talk about the news. And you can come and tell us what to talk about. And we're very interactive. And then Saturday, we call it Self-Suck Saturday, where we just like kind of blow ourselves and talk about Whitest Kids stuff. And again, it's all like very interactive. So participate, hang out, come.
Yeah, man. I can personally recommend it. I hang out in Zach's stream all the time.
Oh, cool. Yeah, yes, you do. Yes, you do. And I play Dark Souls, and I'm trying to get Monday through Friday. Hopefully, schedule permitting, I will play 2 hours of morning of Dark Souls, and I can't fucking wait for Demon Souls to come out. And yeah.
All right. Well, Zach, thanks so much, man. You have a great rest of your day.
Thank you again.
Thanks, guys. This was fun. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. We'll follow up with you afterwards, man. Take it easy.
Cool. Later.